The alarm bells rang through the Galactic Council's main monitoring station. Commander Vex 9, a tall blue creature with 4 arms, rushed to the communication center. His species, the Thylorians, had been watching the galaxy's radio signals for over 300 years. They had heard many things, but nothing like this. "What do we have?" Vex 9 asked his team. Technician Yara, a small furry being from the Corvin system, looked up from her control panel. Her large eyes were wide with worry. "Sir, we are getting a distress signal from the Kepler 442 system. It is from the Zilani people." Vex 9 knew about the Zilani. They were peaceful plant-eaters who grew the best food in the galaxy. Their farms fed billions of beings across dozens of worlds. They never fought anyone. They did not even have real weapons on their ships. "Put it on the main screen," Vex 9 ordered. The message came through broken and full of static. The voice belonged to a Zilani female. She sounded scared. "This is Zilani Agricultural Ship Morning Bloom. We are under attack. Unknown ships. They are hunting us like animals. Our defensive systems are not working. They disabled our engines first. Now they are. Oh no, they are coming back." The signal cut out to nothing. The control room fell silent. Everyone stared at the empty screen. Yara's small hands shook as she tried to find more signals from the Kepler 442 system. "There," she said. "I found another one." This time it was a different voice. A male Zilani speaking fast and afraid. "Galactic Council, please help us. These creatures appeared 3 days ago. They have been picking off our ships one by one. They seem to enjoy the hunt. They could destroy us all at once, but they don't. They are playing with us, making us run, then catching us. Council stations, anyone who can hear this. We have children on these ships, please." That signal also died. Vex 9 turned to his team. "How many more signals are we getting from Kepler 442? Yara checked her instruments. 12 signals when this started, sir. Now only 3 are still sending. And that was in the last hour? Yes, sir. Vex 9 felt cold. The Zilani had 28 ships in that system. Their whole mobile population lived on those ships as they moved from world to world, planting and harvesting. If only 3 ships were still broadcasting, that meant the attackers had already caught 25 ships full of innocent families. "Send this to the Council War Room immediately," Vex 9 ordered. "Emergency priority." "Already done, sir," Yara replied. "Council Leader Morn wants to speak with you." The main screen changed to show Council Leader Morn. She was a Centaurian with gray skin and a large head full of wrinkles that showed her age and wisdom. Behind her, Vex 9 could see other council members gathering in the emergency meeting room. "Commander Vex 9, Morn said. "We heard the signals. How bad is the situation?" "Very bad, Council Leader. The Zilani are being hunted by an unknown enemy. Based on the signals, we believe most of their ships have already been captured or destroyed. Do we know who is attacking them?" "No, sir. The Zilani descriptions are not clear. They mention ships that look like nothing in our databases. The attackers seem to be playing with them, hunting them slowly instead of just destroying them quickly." Council Leader Morn's face grew darker. "We need to send help immediately." "That is the problem, Council Leader," said another voice. General Crix, the Therian military commander, appeared on screen next to Morn. His species looked like large insects with hard shells. "Our nearest battle fleet is in the Vega system. Even at maximum speed, it would take 6 days to reach Kepler 442. "What about the Andromedan Defense Force?" Morn asked. 8 days away, Crix replied. "The Syrian patrol fleet could reach them in 5 days, but they only have 12 ships. We do not know how many enemy ships we are facing." "The Corvin rescue ships?" Morn tried again. 4 days, but they are not military ships. They would just become more victims." Vex 9 watched the council leaders struggle with the terrible math. Every species in the Galactic Council had some kind of space fleet, but they were all designed for defense. Each species protected their own worlds and trade routes. When emergencies happened far away, it took time to organize help. The council fleets were built to guard, not to chase. Their ships were strong but slow. They were designed to stand and fight, not to hunt down enemies across the galaxy. This had always worked before because most conflicts happened at borders between known territories. "We need to call for volunteers," Morn said finally. "Any ship that can help." "Council Leader," Crick said carefully. "By the time any volunteer fleet reaches Kepler 442, the Zilani will be dead. All of them." The words hung in the air like a death sentence. Everyone knew Crix was right. The Zilani were dying right now, while the council sat in their meeting room trying to figure out how to help. There has to be something we can do, Morn said, but her voice sounded defeated. That is when the new voice spoke up. Actually, Council Leader, we already have ships on the way. Everyone turned to see who had spoken. It was Ambassador Sarah Chen, the human representative to the Galactic Council. She was a small woman with dark hair and calm eyes. She had been so quiet that most people forgot she was in the room. What did you say? Morn asked. I said we have ships already heading to Kepler 442, Sarah repeated. Earth's hunter fleet launched as soon as we detected the Zilani distress signals. The room fell silent again. Vex 9 had never heard of Earth's hunter fleet. He knew about human exploration ships and their trading vessels. He had heard about their colony ships and research stations. But a hunter fleet? Ambassador Chen, General Crick said slowly. I am not familiar with this hunter fleet. It is not listed in any of our databases. Sarah nodded. That is correct, General. The hunter fleet is not part of our public military records. How many ships? Morn asked. Classified. What kind of ships? Classified. When will they reach Kepler 442? Sarah checked a small device on her wrist. They should arrive in approximately 14 hours. The council members looked at each other with confusion and surprise. General Crick's insect-like face showed his doubt. Ambassador, with respect, even our fastest ships would take at least 4 days to reach Kepler 442 from Earth space. How is this possible? Sarah's expression did not change. Earth has been monitoring galactic communications for potential predator attacks. When the Zilani signals were detected, our hunter fleet was automatically deployed. They were already in space, already moving where? Morn demanded. Patrolling. Another long silence filled the room. Vex 9 realized that none of them really understood what the humans had just said. The other species built fleets to defend their homes. Humans apparently built fleets that moved around the galaxy looking for trouble. Council Leader, Sarah said, I suggest we continue monitoring the situation. My government will provide updates as they become available. The transmission ended, leaving the council members staring at blank screens and wondering what they had gotten themselves into when they invited humanity to join their alliance. In the monitoring station, Vex 9 and his team listened to the final Zilani signals growing weaker and more desperate. Somewhere in the darkness of space, human ships were racing toward a battle that the rest of the galaxy was just learning had already begun. Admiral Marcus Kane stood on the bridge of the HSS Predator, watching the stars bend around his ship as it traveled faster than light toward the Kepler 442 system. His weathered face showed no emotion, but his dark eyes burned with controlled anger. Behind him, his crew worked at their stations with quiet efficiency. Kane had been waiting for this moment for 3 years. The Hunter fleet was humanity's most classified military project. Only a few hundred people in the entire human government knew it existed. Even fewer knew what it was really designed to do. Admiral, called Lieutenant Jessica Park from the communications station, we are receiving updates from the other ships in the fleet. Report, Kane said without turning around. HSS Stalker reports they will reach the target system in 12 hours. HSS Apex and HSS Fang are 11 hours out. HSS Pack Leader is running slightly behind but will arrive within the window. Kane nodded. The Hunter fleet consisted of only 12 ships, but they were unlike anything else humanity had ever built. They were not designed to defend Earth or human colonies. They were designed to hunt. Any word from Earth Command? Yes, sir. Admiral Rodriguez sends her regards and reminds you that the galaxy is watching. Kane almost smiled. Admiral Rodriguez had been his mentor when he was young. She understood why the Hunter fleet was necessary, even if it made her uncomfortable. The truth was that humanity had lied to the Galactic Council. When Earth first made contact with alien species 50 years ago, humans had presented themselves as explorers and traders. They showed the aliens their science ships and peaceful colonies. They talked about cooperation and friendship. They joined the Council as partners in building a better galaxy. What they did not mention was their history. Every other species in the galaxy had evolved from prey animals or peaceful plant eaters. The Thylorians descended from creatures that ate fruit and hid from predators. The Corvin ancestors were small burrowing animals that survived by staying underground. Even the warrior Therians had evolved from insects that fought only to defend their nests. Humans were different. Humans descended from hunters. For millions of years, human ancestors had chased down other animals across the plains of Africa. They learned to work together in packs. They learned to track prey for days without stopping. They learned to plan attacks and set traps. They became the most dangerous predators on their planet. When humans developed civilization, they did not forget how to hunt. They just learned to control it. The hunter fleet was the result of that control. "Admiral," said Commander Sarah Kim, Kane's second-in-command, "do you want to review the mission files?" Kane shook his head. He had read the files 1,000 times. He knew every detail about what they were flying toward. The files told the story of why the hunter fleet existed. 15 years ago, Earth's deep space monitoring stations had detected something terrible. Radio signals from a peaceful trading species called the Melkari had suddenly stopped. When human scout ships investigated, they found empty space where the Melkari homeworld should have been. The planet was still there. The cities were still there. But every living thing was gone. Further investigation revealed burn marks on the surface that looked like landing sites for large ships. The cities showed signs of organized harvesting. Buildings had been broken into systematically. Warehouses had been emptied. Even the bodies were missing. Someone had taken everything. Earth's xenobiologists studied the evidence and reached a horrible conclusion. The Melkari had been hunted by an intelligent predator species, not just killed in war but harvested like livestock. Human intelligence services began monitoring galactic communications more carefully. Over the next 10 years, they detected 6 more cases of entire civilizations disappearing. Each time the pattern was the same. A peaceful species would send out normal communications one day, then nothing. When other species investigated months or years later, they would find empty worlds with signs of systematic harvesting. The galactic community noticed these disappearances, but they explained them as natural disasters or economic collapses. No one wanted to believe that intelligent predators were hunting other intelligent species. Humans believed it because they recognized it. The Melkari case files are what convinced the Earth government to authorize the Hunter Fleet Project, Kane explained to a new crew member last month. When we saw what happened to them, we realized something was out there that hunted sentient species for food. And we realized that no one else in the galaxy was prepared to stop it. The Hunter Fleet ships were built in secret shipyards hidden in the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter. Each ship was designed with one purpose: to track down and destroy predator species that hunted sentient beings. The ships looked nothing like other human vessels. Where normal human ships were white and silver with peaceful symbols, Hunter Fleet ships were dark gray and black. They had no identification markings that could be traced back to Earth. Their weapons were designed to disable and capture, rather than just destroy. Most importantly, their crews were specially selected. Kane himself had been chosen because of his psychological profile. Military psychologists had identified him as someone who could channel humanity's predatory instincts for protective purposes. He could think like a hunter when necessary, but he would only hunt things that deserved to be hunted. Every member of the Hunter Fleet crew had passed similar tests. They were humans who could become predators to fight predators. "Admiral," Lieutenant Park called out, "we are receiving another transmission from the Zalani. It is very weak. Put it through." The voice that came through the speakers was barely a whisper. It belonged to a young Zalani female. This is probably our last message. They caught the agricultural ship Morning Garden an hour ago. We heard the screams on the radio before the signal stopped. There are only 2 ships left now. They are playing with us, making us think we can escape. Then they appear in front of us, like they know where we will go before we get there. The signal faded to static. Kane's hands tightened into fists. This was exactly what the Hunter Fleet had been created to stop. "Commander Kim," he said quietly. "Yes, sir?" "Signal the fleet. We go to battle condition as soon as we drop out of hyperspace. Rules of engagement are simple. If it is hunting the Zalani, we hunt it." "Understood, sir." "Should we attempt to communicate with the enemy first?" Kane's dark eyes grew colder. "No, predators do not negotiate with their prey, and we are not their prey." The Hunter Fleet continued its race through hyperspace toward the Kepler 442 system. Behind them, the Galactic Council continued to debate what to do. Ahead of them, an unknown enemy continued to hunt innocent families for sport. But for the first time in human history, something was hunting the hunters. Kane looked out at the stars and smiled a predator's smile. Soon, the unknown enemy would learn what it felt like to be prey. The Hunter fleet dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Kepler 442 system, like shadows materializing from a nightmare. Admiral Kane watched his tactical display as 12 human ships spread out in a hunting formation that had been practiced 1,000 times, but never used in real combat. "Report," Kane ordered quietly. "Scanning the system now, Admiral," called Lieutenant Commander Torres from the sensor station. "I am detecting multiple contacts near the fourth planet." "Zilani ships?" "2 confirmed Zilani agricultural vessels are still broadcasting distress signals. They appear to be running toward the outer system, but their engines are damaged. Maximum speed looks like about 60% of normal." Kane nodded. The prey was wounded and running. "Now to find the predators." "Admiral," Torres continued, "I am also detecting 7 unknown contacts, large ships approximately twice the size of our vessels. They appear to be herding the Zilani ships." "Herding?" "Yes, sir. Every time the Zilani ships try to change course, one of the unknown ships moves to block them. They are being driven toward the outer asteroid belt." Kane studied the tactical display. The enemy ships were working together to control where their prey could go. It was smart hunting behavior. Drive the prey toward a place where they could not escape, then move in for the kill. "What about the other Zilani ships?" Kane asked. Torres checked his instruments. His face grew grim. "Admiral, I am detecting debris fields in several locations. Based on the size and composition, I believe they are the remains of 26 Zilani agricultural ships." The bridge fell silent. Everyone understood what that meant. Over 3,000 Zilani civilians had already been killed. "Any survivors in the debris fields?" "Negative, sir. No life signs detected." Kane felt the cold anger that he had learned to control over years of training. These predators had murdered thousands of innocent plant eaters, men, women, and children who had never hurt anyone in their lives. "Commander Kim," Kane said to his second-in-command. "Yes, sir?" "Signal the fleet. Begin silent approach. Use the asteroid belt for cover. I want to know everything about these predators before we engage." "Understood, Admiral." The Hunter fleet moved deeper into the system like ghosts. Their ships were designed for stealth, with armor that absorbed sensor scans and engines that produced almost no heat signature. To any observer, the asteroid belt would appear empty. Kane moved to the observation deck at the front of his ship. Through the transparent aluminum windows, he could see the distant lights of the battle in progress. The unknown ships were moving, slowly, taking their time with the last 2 Zilani vessels. "Admiral," came Torres's voice through the communication system, "we are close enough for detailed scans of the enemy ships." Kane returned to the bridge. "What do we see?" "The ships are definitely Predator-designed, sir. Long and angular, built for speed and intimidation. They have multiple weapon ports, but most are designed for disabling rather than destroying. They want their prey alive." "What about the species operating them?" "Picking up life signs now, sir. The crew appears to be large, approximately 3 meters tall. Elevated body temperature suggests a high metabolism. Based on ship design and behavior, I would estimate they are apex predators from a high-gravity world." Kane absorbed this information. Large, aggressive predators with fast metabolisms would need a lot of food. Hunting other intelligent species would provide not just calories but entertainment. "Sir," Torres added, "I am also detecting something else. The enemy ships have cargo holds full of organic material." "Survivors from the other ships?" "Unknown, sir. The signals are too scattered to determine if the material is alive or processed." Kane did not need to hear more. These predators were not just killing the Zilani. They were harvesting them. "Admiral," Commander Kim reported, "the Hunter fleet is in position. All ships are ready for your orders." Kane looked at the tactical display one more time. 7 enemy ships against 12 human vessels. The numbers favored humanity. But Kane knew that meant nothing. These aliens were experienced hunters operating in their preferred environment. But they had never been hunted before. "Open a channel to the fleet," Kane ordered. When all 12 Hunter fleet ships were connected, Kane spoke in a voice that his crew had learned meant death for someone. "This is Admiral Kane to all Hunter fleet vessels. We have confirmed the existence of an intelligent predator species that hunts other sentient beings for food. They have murdered over 3,000 Zelani civilians and are currently hunting the survivors. Rules of engagement are as follows. Disable their ships if possible, destroy them if necessary. Priority is saving any remaining Zelani survivors. Secondary priority is gathering intelligence about this predator species. Tertiary priority is ensuring that none of these hunters escape to threaten other peaceful species. He paused, looking out at the stars where an ancient enemy was about to meet humanity for the first time. All ships, begin the hunt. The hunter fleet attacked without warning. Human ships emerged from the asteroid belt like wolves appearing from a forest. Their weapons fired not at the enemy ships, but at their engines and weapon systems. The goal was not to destroy the predators quickly, but to trap them. The alien predators reacted with the speed and aggression Kane had expected. Their ships spun toward the humans, weapons charging. But something was wrong with their response. They moved like hunters who had suddenly found themselves being hunted, and they did not know how to handle it. "Admiral," called Lieutenant Park from communications. "We are receiving a transmission from the lead enemy ship. Put it through." The voice that came through the speakers was deep and harsh, translated by the ship's computer into human language. "Unknown vessels, you are interfering with our hunt. Withdraw immediately or be destroyed." Kane smiled coldly. "Open a response channel." When the connection was established, Kane spoke in a voice as calm as death. "This is Admiral Kane of the Earth Hunter Fleet. You are trespassing in protected space and have murdered civilians under galactic law. Surrender immediately and prepare to be boarded." There was a long pause. When the alien voice returned, it sounded confused. "Hunter Fleet? Your species are prey animals. You do not hunt." "You are wrong," Kane replied. "We are humanity. We invented hunting, and you just became our prey." The battle began in earnest, as the alien predators realized they were not dealing with another species of plant-eaters or defensive fighters. These humans moved like predators, thought like predators, and fought like predators. For the first time in their species' history, the aliens found themselves on the wrong end of a hunt. The alien ship Devourer's fangs spun through space, trailing plasma from its damaged engines. War Leader Crash slammed his massive fist against his command chair as another human weapon struck his ship's hull. "How are these prey animals doing this to us?" he roared at his crew. Crash stood 3 meters tall with gray skin covered in natural armor plates and forearms ending in razor-sharp claws. His species, the Scaroth, had dominated their homeworld by hunting and eating every other intelligent creature they found. When they reached space, they continued the same pattern across the galaxy, but nothing had prepared them for humans. War Leader called his sensor operator. "The human ships are not fighting like any prey species we have encountered. They work together like a pack." Crash watched his tactical display with growing anger and confusion. The human ships moved around his fleet like hunting animals circling their prey. Every time his ships tried to attack one human vessel, 2 others would appear from behind asteroids to strike his flanks. "These humans think they can outhunt the Scaroth." Crash growled. "Show them what real predators can do. All ships, attack formation Rending Claw. We end this quickly." The Scaroth ships moved into their traditional battle pattern. It had never failed them before. 6 ships would attack the enemy from different angles while the 7th ship moved behind to cut off any escape route. But when they executed the maneuver, the humans were not there. "Where did they go?" Crash demanded. "War Leader, the human ships have scattered." "They are." "They are using the asteroid belt for cover." On the bridge of the HSS Predator, Admiral Kane watched the Scaroth ships break formation and smiled grimly. "They fight like pack hunters, but they think like prey animals. They assume their enemy will stay in one place and fight directly." "Orders, sir?" asked Commander Kim. "Signal the fleet. Execute hunting pattern Delta 7. Let's show them how Earth's apex predators handle overconfident competition." The hunter fleet split into 3 groups of 4 ships each. One group moved deeper into the asteroid belt, using the Space Rocks for cover. The second group circled around behind the Scaroth formation. The third group, led by Kane's ship, remained visible to keep the aliens' attention. It was a tactic as old as humanity itself. Make the prey focus on one threat while the real attack comes from somewhere else. Crash realized too late what was happening. "They are surrounding us." "How do prey animals know pack hunting tactics?" The answer came when human ships emerged from the asteroid belt behind his fleet. The Scaroth found themselves trapped between three groups of human vessels, just like deer surrounded by wolves. But the Scaroth were not deer. They were predators with millions of years of hunting experience. All ships emergency scatter, Crash ordered. Break out of their trap and reform at the edge of the system. The Scaroth ships engaged their emergency drives and shot away from the human formation at maximum speed. Their ships were larger and more powerful than the human vessels. They could outrun anything the humans had, or so they thought. "Admiral," reported Lieutenant Commander Torres, "the enemy ships are attempting to escape the system at maximum speed." Kane nodded. "Predicted behavior. They are used to prey that gets tired and gives up. Signal the fleet. Begin endurance hunting." The human ships did not try to match the Scaroth's maximum speed. Instead, they followed at a steady pace that their engines could maintain for days or weeks if necessary. This was humanity's oldest and most effective hunting technique. Humans were not the fastest runners on Earth, but they could run longer than any other animal. They would chase their prey until it collapsed from exhaustion. Crash watched his rear sensors in growing panic. "Why are they still following us? We are faster than they are." "War leader," his engineer reported. "Our engines are overheating. We cannot maintain maximum speed much longer. Then we fight them." "Sir, if we stop to fight, the other human ships will catch up to us." "They are coordinating their pursuit." Crash began to understand the trap he was in. If his ships kept running, their engines would burn out. If they stopped to fight, they would face the entire human fleet. If they tried to scatter, the humans would pick them off one by one. He was experiencing something no Scaroth had ever felt before, being hunted by something smarter than himself. "War leader," called his communications officer. "We are receiving another transmission from the human leader." "Put it through," Crash snarled. Admiral Kane's voice came through the speakers, calm and patient. "Scaroth vessels, this is your final warning. Your engines are overheating and your fuel is running low. Surrender now and we will allow your crew to survive." "How do you know our engine status?" Crash demanded. "Because we have been studying your ships for the past 6 hours. We know your capabilities, your weaknesses, and your options. You have none left." Crash looked at his tactical display. Kane was right. The Scaroth ships were running out of fuel and their engines were starting to fail. But worse than that, the humans had somehow gotten ahead of them. "How are their human ships in front of us?" he asked his crew. "War leader, they predicted our escape route. While we were running, some of their ships took a shorter path through the asteroid belt. They are waiting for us." Crash felt something he had never experienced in his life. Fear. These humans hunted like his own species, but better. They planned ahead like intelligent beings, but they had the patience of natural predators. "Sir," his sensor operator said quietly, "I am detecting more human ships coming from our left and right flanks. We are completely surrounded." Crash looked at the tactical display and saw the truth. The humans had not been chasing his ships randomly. They had been herding them toward a specific location where more human ships waited in ambush. The Scaroth, who had hunted and eaten hundreds of intelligent species, had been out-hunted by creatures they thought were prey animals. "War leader," came Kane's voice again. "Your ships are dead in space. Your engines have failed and you have no fuel left. I am offering you one chance to surrender and live. If you refuse, we will do to you what you did to the Zelani." Crash stared at his screens. His proud fleet of 7 ships was now drifting helplessly in space, surrounded by 12 human vessels that moved like hungry sharks. For the first time in Scaroth history, a war leader spoke words that had never been said by his species. We surrender." But Admiral Kane was not finished with them yet. The real lesson was about to begin. 3 days after the battle at Kepler 442, the Galactic Council emergency session was unlike any meeting in their history. Representatives from 47 different species sat in stunned silence as they watched the recorded footage from the human hunter fleet. Council leader Morn stared at the main display screen, where Admiral Kane's ships moved through space like deadly shadows. The video showed human vessels surrounding and capturing an entire fleet of predator aliens without losing a single ship. "This footage is confirmed authentic?" Morn asked quietly. "Yes, Council leader," replied Intelligence Director Voss, a tall creature with purple skin and 6 eyes. "We received it directly from the human hunter fleet, along with complete battle logs and sensor recordings. Ambassador Sarah Chen sat calmly in her chair, watching the other council members try to process what they had witnessed. She had known this day would come eventually. Humanity could not keep its true nature secret forever. Ambassador Chen, said General Crix, his insect-like voice carrying notes of fear and confusion. Your species told us you were explorers and traders. You never mentioned that you were also warriors. You never asked. Sarah replied simply. We asked about your military capabilities when you joined the council, and we provided accurate information about our defensive fleets and colony protection forces. The Hunter fleet is not a military force in the traditional sense. Council leader Morn leaned forward. Then what is it? Sarah considered her words carefully. The Hunter fleet is a specialized response unit designed to deal with predator species that hunt sentient beings. It exists because we recognized a threat that no one else wanted to acknowledge. She gestured to the screen, where the footage showed Scaroth ships trying desperately to escape human pursuit. For 15 years, we have been tracking the disappearance of peaceful species across the galaxy. The Melkari, the Tolan, the reef builders of Kepler-296, and others. Each time, entire civilizations vanished without explanation. The galactic community preferred to believe these were natural disasters or economic collapses. Because the alternative was too terrible to consider, said Dr. Yala, a Corvan scientist whose people had discovered several of the empty worlds. Exactly, Sarah agreed. No one wanted to believe that intelligent predators were systematically hunting and consuming other intelligent species. It was easier to ignore the evidence. But humans believed it, Morn said. Why? Sarah paused, knowing that her next words would change how every species in the galaxy viewed humanity. Because we recognized the pattern. Humans evolved as persistence hunters on our homeworld. For millions of years, our ancestors survived by chasing down and killing other animals. We understand predator behavior because we were predators ourselves. The council chamber fell completely silent. Representatives who had considered humans to be peaceful explorers now stared at their species with new eyes. That is why you were able to defeat these Scaroth so easily, General Crix said slowly. You think like they do? Better than they do, Sarah corrected. The Scaroth hunt on instinct and experience. Humans hunt with planning and intelligence. We turned our predatory nature into a tool for protecting others. But you kept this secret from us, accused Senator Thrym, a green-skinned representative from the Centauri system. How do we know you will not hunt us? Sarah's expression did not change. Because we chose not to. Humanity could have conquered the galaxy when we first achieved faster-than-light travel. We had the technology and the instincts. Instead, we chose to join your alliance and work for peace. Why? Morn asked. Because we learned something that natural predators never learn. There are things more satisfying than hunting prey. Building civilizations, creating art, exploring the universe, protecting the innocent. We discovered that being guardians was more fulfilling than being killers. Admiral Kane's image appeared on the communication screen, transmitting from his ship in the Kepler-442 system. His weathered face showed the exhaustion of 3 days spent processing captured Scaroth vessels and rescuing Zilani survivors. Council Leader Morn, Kane said formally, I am transmitting our final report on the Kepler-442 incident. Admiral Kane, Morn replied, on behalf of the Galactic Council, we thank you for saving the Zilani people. However, we need to discuss your methods and the existence of your fleet. Kane nodded. I understand your concerns, Council Leader. Let me address them directly. The main screen showed new footage. Human soldiers carefully carrying injured Zilani survivors from captured Scaroth ships. The aliens had been kept alive as food, but human medical teams were treating their wounds and trauma. We recovered 112 Zilani survivors from the Scaroth cargo holds, Kane reported. All are receiving medical care and will be returned to their people. We also recovered the remains of over 2,000 victims which will be returned for proper burial. What about the Scaroth prisoners? General Crix asked. 5 of their ships were completely disabled and captured. 2 ships were allowed to escape. Allowed to escape? Morn sounded surprised. Kane's expression grew cold. Those ships were tagged with tracking devices and programmed with a message to broadcast to any other Scaroth vessels they encounter. The message is simple. This region of space is now under human protection. Any predator species that hunts sentient beings in our patrol area will be eliminated. You are claiming territory? Senator Thrym demanded. No, Kane replied. We are claiming responsibility. The Hunter fleet will continue to patrol the galaxy, looking for predator species that threaten peaceful civilizations. This is not about conquest or territory. This is about ensuring that what happened to the Zilani never happens to anyone else. Sarah stood up and addressed the council directly. Humanity requests formal recognition of the Hunter fleet as the galaxy's rapid response force for predator threats. We do not want payment or territory. We want authorization to do what we are already doing, hunting the Hunters. The debate that followed lasted for 6 hours. Some species argued that humanity was too dangerous to trust with such power. Others pointed out that no one else had been able to stop the Scaroth or even detect them. Finally, Council Leader Morn called for a vote. All those in favor of recognizing Earth's Hunter fleet as an authorized galactic defense force, 39 hands, claws, and tentacles rose into the air. Opposed? 8 representatives voted against the proposal. The motion passes, Morn announced. Admiral Kane, you and your fleet are hereby authorized to act on behalf of the Galactic Council in matters involving predator species that threaten member civilizations. Kane saluted formally. Thank you, Council Leader. The Hunter fleet will not let you down. As the session ended and representatives began to leave, Dr. Yala approached Ambassador Chen. Sarah, the Corvin scientist said quietly, I have to ask, are there other secrets that humanity is keeping from us? Sarah smiled sadly. Dr. Yala, every species has secrets. The difference is that our secrets are designed to protect you, not exploit you. But how do we know that? Because if we wanted to exploit you, you would never have had the chance to ask that question. Later that night in the depths of space, the Hunter fleet resumed its eternal patrol. Admiral Kane stood on his bridge watching the stars scroll past as his ships moved toward their next assignment. Admiral, Commander Kim asked, do you think the Council really understands what they just authorized? Kane considered the question. I think they understand that something needs to hunt the Hunters. Whether they understand that we have been hunting for our entire species' history, that will come with time. And if they decide they do not want us as allies, Kane's expression did not change. Then they will discover the difference between having humanity as guardians and having humanity as enemies. Let us hope it never comes to that. The Hunter fleet disappeared into the darkness between stars, carrying humanity's promise to protect the innocent and humanity's warning to those who would harm them. The galaxy was no longer a place where the strong simply consumed the weak. Now there were guardians in the void, ensuring that civilization could grow and flourish under the protection of Earth's most dangerous children. And in the deepest corners of space, predator species began to whisper about the humans who hunted Hunters, and they learned for the first time in their evolutionary history what it meant to be afraid.